Hello people, how are you? All good? In the beginning of time, God created humanity, and then the witches. God shared his power with the witches and said, "Who will be my guides?" The impotent humans. The witches accepted the words of God and swore to dedicate themselves to help humans in the wings of friendship. But in the present, the witches are attacked and executed right and left. Now we see this boy who asks if there is much to get to the border, since he feels very tired and has a lot of heat. Who asked all this is a girl named Chloe, which asks him to shut up for a moment, since he is checking the position in which they are with a map. He asks him if he cannot use magic, at least to make the environment cooler. Chloe, the ice witch, answers him that his magic is not to use it in nonsense, and tells him that if he continues to complain, he will leave it here. Chloe realizes that our protagonist is using a cell phone, so he repeats that he had said that if he uses strange machines then they can be located. The protagonist tells him that it is not a strange machine, and that it is a smartphone. He also explains that he built it himself, and that is why they cannot track it, since he does not use radio waves but magic with multidimensional photon, so the army cannot triangulate it. He also tells him that using maps on paper is out of fashion. Chloe gets angry and hits our protagonist, telling him that he is a brazen snitch. In that the atmosphere gets serious, and our protagonist asks him why they have to flee. Chloe replies that she is a witch, and that is the reason why they are fleeing. And since the attitude towards witches has changed, she explains that staying alive is complicated. Our protagonist is really bothered by this situation. My grandson had introduced him, but he is called Adonis. Chloe tells Adonis that try not to talk until crossing the border, since he tells him that if they want to live quiet, they must find a place where they accept witches, and that after that they will look for a school. Adonis responds that the school does not care, and that he prefers to continue studying with her. And Adonis wonders how is that Chloe can be so excited and not feel frustrated about the situation of the witches, since for his part he hates this place, the Empire of Rhedia, and thinks that they should eradicate humans with magic. Just at that moment, Adonis realizes that something is approaching them. It turns out that the army found them. Very angry Adonis says that he will take care of the situation. Chloe tells him no and that he lacks experience with magic. That's why she attacks with her ice magic. On the other hand, a guy who is apologizing to His Highness, Emperor Goethe of the Kingdom of Rhedia, the Emperor, says that he is an incompetent guy. He apologizes and says that Chloe is a high level witch that uses ice magic. However, the guy takes a beating for challenging His Highness. The very serious Emperor says that it is enough, and that bring the witch Chloe, since he says that he will not allow her to escape returning with Chloe. She is very exhausted by the battle, and he tells Donnie's that it's time to go, but he doesn't move, so Chloe asks him if something is wrong. Donnie asks him why he doesn't let him do anything, since he knows how to use magic and can cast spells, so he asks why he can't fight, saying that this fight would have been very easy for him. Chloe replies that she has already explained it to him, since according to Chloe, Donnie lacks experience with magic. He wonders if it is not enough to be Chloe's apprentice, but she tells him that if he keeps complaining, he will make him angry. Adonis begins to say that the reason is because they are humans like him, and tells Chloe that he is too kind, that she does not want Adonis to eliminate his people. Adonis also says that for that, no matter how badly they treat her, she hides what she feels so that Adonis does not hate human, but Adonis cannot stand it anymore, not being able to protect her. Even Adonis begins to cry and everything, but at that moment Chloe hugs him, but there is no time for that, since out of nowhere they begin to float. Adonis wonders what is happening, and Chloe wonders if they have already completed it, since she says that not even a witch can transfer physical matter at long distance. Meanwhile, the Emperor gives a speech to his people. He says that magic has protected them for a long time. In case of natural disasters or plagues, they depended on the witches. They were grateful. They venerated them and feared them, because their power, magic, surpassed human knowledge. So he asks people if they do not find it unfair, complaining that they are such weak beings that they must ask the witches for help. He asks people to observe. His ships hang the sky, and his metropolis does not fear any storm. The trains that circulate through his cities will open new borders, and in their hands they have the fruit of their wisdom, the Smurfen. So he says that the Empire has given rise to this technology explosion, the gear expansion. So he says that they are no longer weak, even without magical and mysterious powers. They can mold the natural world and control it with their strength. So he tells the people that it is time to eradicate the witches and show the world that they are their rulers. The speech makes the crowd scream, and he says he knows that eradicating the witches will lead the world in the right direction. Chloe and Adonis are transported to Saint Etoile in the middle of the square. The Emperor tells Chloe that they are finally found. Adonis asks Chloe to run away while he tries to buy time, so Adonis runs away, but the guards stop him easily. When he sees Adonis' behavior, The Emperor says that it seems that this human was created by a witch, so he says that this world is going from bad to worse. Chloe goes to the Emperor. She says that if he values the life of his people, then he should free his apprentice. The Emperor says nothing, and Chloe takes it as if he were the one who gave it, so she goes to the citizens. She tells them that they are humans like Adonis, and that she didn't want to face them because if she destroyed them, Adonis would be left without a home. That's why Chloe had allowed them to live, but she says they are very dangerous. And when Chloe was about to launch her attack, for some reason her magic disappeared. The Emperor tells Chloe that he is not aware of the power of the science they have acquired, since they have a device to cancel their magic. Adonis, very worried, wonders why his magic is not activated. The Emperor tells Chloe that it's time to give up the world, and at that moment the Emperor breaks a part of Chloe's clothes and slaps her, saying that a witch who can't use magic is a simple woman. The crowd starts laughing at Chloe. They even take pictures of her and everything. This makes Adonis lose control, but the guards stop him anyway. Orders to execute him right now. When he sees this, Chloe apologizes to the Emperor, tells him that it's all her fault, and that he shouldn't blame the boy. She also gives him the reason for what he says, that you have to eradicate the witches, but that the boy is different, that he is human like him. With these words, Chloe tried to save Donnie, but that's not all she said, since she also said that she kidnapped Donnie and created him as her slave. And she finishes by saying that he is a poor and miserable human child, begging the Emperor to forgive his life to Adonis. When he hears the words of Chloe, Adonis begins to cry, but he also says that nothing happens and that he is going to eliminate them all right now. For his part, the Emperor pulls out a weapon and points directly to Chloe. In this situation, Adonis is in shock, but Chloe looks at him and thanks him for everything. She tells him that at that moment she was very happy to meet him, and when she was about to say "I love you," boom, the Emperor shoots, and after the Emperor's attack the guards also launch a burst of attacks sending Chloe like that with God. But poor Chloe was not left alone since the Emperor took his head and raised it before his people, and obviously Donnie was very angry. But let's see what happens 10 years later. We see some poor girls fighting for a bread. This girl with pink hair very kindly tells her not to fight, and that they can keep this bread. One of the girls takes the bread away, but still treats her rudely, since she tells her not to get involved. This girl with blue hair called Anna asks Doroka, the girl with pink hair, if she is okay, wondering if she had already given the previous bread to another. Doroka says that nothing happens, and that she has plenty of energy. Anna says that Doroka is too good, since on the contrary Anna is only worried about herself. And she says that no matter how much the gear expansion makes technology advance, people keep fighting each other. The wars have not ceased, and they said that humanity would be happy when the witches disappear. So Anna wonders what all this means. Doroka tries to cheer Anna up, using some puppets. This works, since Anna gets happy and they both start laughing. But the guards call their attention and start calling the one with the number 218, and by a conversation among the crowd we find out that the ones who take never return. Anna realizes that she is the one who has that number, so she is very scared, but Doroka also realized this. So she took Anna's number and went for her in her place. Doroka was taken with a guy who tells her that he seems to enjoy good health and that he is quite young, so he only needs a checkup, so he asks Doroka to take off his clothes. Doroka is obviously surprised, but they tell him not to be surprised and that they are going to check his body to make sure he does not offend his new lord. He tells him that this place is paid with taxes paid by the people of the empire, so he tells him that's why it's fair that she serves the people, so she thinks of selling Doroka. But in a carelessness, Doroka could escape and ran away. But not only that, Doroka stole the smartphone of the guy who wanted to sell it. With it, Doroka tries to open the cells of the others, but it requires voice authentication to open the cell. However, after trying several times and trying to imitate the voice of the guy, Doroka managed to open the cell. Doroka shouts at all the girls who run away, so they all start running. Thanks to the Doroka smartphone, he opened this door, but was shocked to see what was in front of him, so for that carelessness, a guard caught him. However, what was in front of him also began to open, since it was a special cell, and inside he found a guy all chained, which was very furious. The chained guy managed to get free, and the guards say that the prisoner escaped, and that the boss has to be informed. Another guard says not to do it, and that if they find out about the news they will not forgive them. Then he asks what they are going to do, to which a guard says the obvious: put him in his cell back. However, the prisoner becomes violent and kills all the guards. Doroka gets scared when she sees the prisoner, because he is getting close to her. She even shoots him and everything. But don't worry, because he did this to free Doroka from her wives. Meanwhile, they tell all the staff that the cells and corridors of blocks 1 to 6 have opened. There are several prisoners on the run, so they declare a state of emergency. At the National Security Headquarters, they find out that there are problems in the Mayan boarding school in District 7. So they order this guy to go immediately and report the situation, and the High Executive Yamato, director of the JNS, authorizes him to use weapons of class 5 and higher. The guy answers that he is going to preserve the peace of the empire with his superior power. Yuki, an executive, gets angry with the guy and tells him that the JNS is the cornerstone of the public order, and asks him not to take lightly the peace that His Highness achieved. The guy was very happy with his mission, since he is also an executor of the empire despite his personality. Meanwhile, the guy who wanted to sell Doroka is worried about the situation, since even the confiscated objects warehouse is open. He says this is very serious, since the cell of the perpetual prisoner, considered a threat of SS level, was also open. Adonis, the apprentice of the witch. On his side, Adonis. He forms a spell and shoots. The spell made Adonis throw a giant bullet, and he says he will eliminate all citizens. Meanwhile, who went to investigate the place where the incident occurred, says he searched the entire boarding school field, but he could not find Adonis. However, he eliminated the girls he found. Here they tell him that they shot a building, so he communicates that he is going there immediately. But before that, he is going to take care of the cause of this disaster. So he does pim. Doroka was running and sees the bullet in the building, and she asks herself what to do. And she blames herself for all this because she couldn't stop him what made Donnie go on the news and everything. And while he walks among the crowd, he thinks he doesn't believe that she would praise him for what he is about to do. And he says that surely she would tell him something like revenge won't make her resurrect, and that if he manages to escape, she should live her life, and 10 years have passed since that day and for many years to come. She will never forget what happened to her. Look, her voice, the things she said, and how Chloe ended after that memory. Donnie's cast a spell invokes this giant. This will not go unnoticed, obviously, so they inform the police the appearance of a giant. However, the police answer him not to say nonsense and do not waste your time with Joe, who is behind the call, tells him it's not a joke. And when the police is asking for his data, a car collides with the police headquarters. The police asks the guy in the vehicle if he's okay, but this terrified one replies that he's huge and that he's never seen anything like that. The police think the subject must be high or something, so they were about to arrest him, so he asks to be communicated with drug dealers. But when the police saw the giant with his own eyes, he better ask that they communicate with the JNS. The angry Dornish goes to the castle while saying, "Don't run away, Emperor Goethe." On the other hand, in the JNS they give a report of the situation. They warn that they face a giant robot of unknown origin. Yamato, the director of the JNS, wonders if they warned His Highness of the situation, and the answer is no, since His Majesty the Queen says that His Highness is not well. Yamato declares the state of emergency under his authority, and asks to prioritize the fourth line of defense. While he sees the giant, Yamato receives another news. The boy and the pen have disappeared from the internment camp, so his sister tells him that the giant must move with magic. Yamato says that it makes things easier for them, so he asks where is the magic suspension photon device, the DM. They tell him that it is in the underground warehouse, but they do not know for sure if it will continue to work after 10 years. Yamato tells Yuki that he has her, and that this is of national transcendence. The giant approaches while the fourth line of defense attacks him, but for some reason the projectiles they launch are deviating. Adonis destroys a building, and his 10 years of confinement were not in vain, since it was a simulation without limitation, a scientific study inside the mind, the ideal environment to find the effective way to annihilate a nation. Those who are not witches can only use magic through the so-called magic formulation. It is the understanding and systematization of the mechanisms of magic and its conversion into mathematical expressions through a special pen, and this would not have been easy to master if it had not been for his excellent teacher Chloe. Adonis thinks that eye for eye, so he began to attack the citizens as a sick man. He begins to cry saying that this is amazing, and he wonders what this means, since he expected to feel better. Yamato is informed that Adonis is in the palm of the giant's hand. Upon receiving the information, he informs that the enemy in the palm of the giant's hand. Upon receiving the information, he informs that the enemy is the perpetual prisoner Adonis, the apprentice of the witch. Adonis is attacked again and again. The place is a chaos, and because of the attacks there are people who leave for another life. And the same thing will happen to this child, who is almost sent to a world and falls down a building. However, at that moment, Doroka appeared and was able to save him. Doroka asks this person to help the child, asks him to get away from here as much as he can. She replies that she can't do that, but this Doroka was worth it, so she left the child with the lady and ran away, since Doroka plans to stop Adonis. For his part, Adonis is lying on the ground, and he thinks he is something rusty. Meanwhile, in the castle of the Imperial Sanctuary, Emperor Goethe says that there is a big scandal out there, so he wonders how much he has slept. He is told that half an hour. His wife also tells him not to worry about anything, that he should rest, and that his empire will fix them. However, Goethe has very poor health, and says that everything has an end, since he has an incurable disease, and asks God if this is a curse. However, Goethe does not regret anything, since he created a civilization based on hyperscience, and they killed the witches for the good of progress. Since he says that the world and humanity could not progress while there were witches, returning with Adonis, he continued to fight and eliminate those who crossed him. A soldier tells him that they should have killed him 10 years ago with the witch. Adonis gives him the reason, and tells him that I wish they had done it. And when he was about to eliminate that soldier too, Daroka shouted at him to stop. He tells him to please do not follow, since he eliminated enough citizens from the empire. Daroka expresses that he does not want to see more innocents fall. Adonis gets angry and eliminates the soldier in front of his eyes. And when he hears the words innocent, Adonis says that he makes him laugh. Adonis also says that how could he get confused like that everything was simpler and that it does not matter if they are Redians or not, all humans are their enemies and that I will eliminate them all even if they are prisoners. Daroka replies that this is not what Chloe wanted. Adonis gets angry and tells him not to pronounce Chloe's name so lightly, and asks him why he is interposed in this if he wants to gain time for reinforcements to arrive. He says that it would be something typical of humans, always playing dirty, as they did at that time. So Adonis says that without playing dirty, humans would never have beaten them. He says that Daroka has no idea, so he asks him not to get involved. She calls him Adonis Sam, and tells him that that's what she called the most powerful witch in the world to her dear apprentice, and that all witches know it, thus revealing that Daroka is a witch. Adonis does not believe him. Angry, he tells him not to talk about witches. Daroka tells him that it is true that they survived to the House of Witches. The angry man asks himself then, why did not they go to save Chloe? Daroka apologizes, tells him that they were fleeing desperately. Adonis, more angry, he says that his apologies will not revive Chloe. Daroka tells him that Chloe will revive, that they plan to revive. Hearing this, Adonis tells him not to insult Chloe's memory. Adonis was about to launch an attack, while Daroka confesses that he infiltrated this country to free him, since he tells him that to bring Chloe back, they need her memory, so they need Donnie to revive Chloe. But when he hears her, Donnie only tells him that he is going to eliminate her, and that he will eliminate everyone who speaks badly of Chloe, who makes fun of Chloe, who makes a comment about Chloe. Rather, you can't talk about Chloe because she will eliminate everyone. Daroka replies that if that can satisfy him, then let him do it. And Daroka's last words to Donnie are that she's glad to have met him. This reminds her of Chloe a little bit, so because of this Donnie stops, and while he falls and cries, he asks her if it's true that he can revive Chloe. Daroka confirms that yes, asks him to go with her, and tells her that she is no longer alone. But when he was going to take her hand, Daroka is attacked in front of his eye. We see a memory of the past, in which Daroka sees that the town is on fire. She wonders why humans are doing this. Someone hugs her from behind. It's Mia, another witch. Mia is glad that Daroka is fine. Daroka asks Mia what is happening, but she does not know either. She says that humans attacked them suddenly. Daroka asks how is that possible, since they got along so well with human, that this does not make sense to her. Faced with this situation, Daroka suggests that they use magic. Mia tells her that they cannot, and that machine that is there cancels the magic. Daroka asks what is that. Mia replies that maybe the lady Ophelia knows something, so she asks Daroka to run away and meet Ophelia, and tell her what is happening. Daroka says no, and that she proposes to go together. Mia says that she has to listen to her, and that she is a very good girl. At that moment Daroka realizes that Mia is not in good condition, so she asks what they did to her, but Mia tells her to follow the star of the revelation, and so will reach the mansion of Mrs. Ophelia. Even Mia, to cheer him up, starts playing with a puppet. After this, Daroka takes the puppet and runs away. We return to the present. Adonis sees a Daroka who is agonizing. She apologizes. Adonis asks her not to die and asks her how she can revive Chlor. At that moment Daroka says something to Adonis, which is not revealed to us, but it does not matter because Adonis has to get away from Daroka, since he was attacked, and in that attack they end up sending Daroka with Diacito. So Daroka leaves us. A very angry Adonis exclaims, "Don't take my hair, witch, revive Chloe. If you don't tell me more, I don't know how I'm going to do it." Angry Adonis begins to conjure a spell, but the soldiers are not going to leave it so easy, since while he does that, they start shooting him. However, his attacks do nothing to him, since Adonis made a shield, but not only that, since he stopped the bullets and even returned them. A sniper attacks Adonis, but this does not affect him. He stops his attack and through a magic formulation makes a much larger bullet, so he returns the attack to the sniper, and well, let's say he sent it with God. While walking, Adonis says, if these humans really think they can beat the magic, the pinnacle of science that defeats the witches, and when it is activated, it is assumed that they can cancel the magic of Adonis. Yuki is happy, since she thinks that finally she can be useful to her brother. In that place, Yuki meets the National Science Agency. The director of the agency says that Yuki is much stronger than the last time he saw her, although he tells her that unfortunately, he cannot allow her to activate. Obviously, Yuki demands an explanation. Yamato receives a call from Yuki, but who is behind the phone is the agency director. She asks Yamato if he has a moment, but he replies that right now not. She tells him not to get like that, and explains that it cannot be the photonic device of the magic suppression. Yamato asks why. She replies that science is the lighthouse that illuminates humanity. But although they have deciphered much of the world, there are many things that they still do not understand, including the particles that emit the photonic device of their magic pressure. Yamato asks what this implies, and the answer is human cell diffusion. And it turns out that this is the disease that the soldiers who participated in the witch house 10 years ago developed. She tells him that given the wide variety of factors, they cannot assure it, but they believe that these particles affect the human body. The device kills cell. Yamato was not aware of this, and it is because the agency hid it. She also says that unfortunately there are no witches to help them recover the environment, and the atmosphere that could have eliminated those harmful rays have disappeared. Nature is in decline, so a human exposed to large amounts of particles in this environment would break into pieces. Hearing this, Yamato deduces that then the disease that His Highness has was also the device. Returning with Adonis, he mocks the soldier, while he eliminates one by one. On the other hand, in the news that they cannot use the device, Yuki runs out, and she thinks they cannot afford to worry about a disease. The agency director tries to stop Yuki, which was to activate the device. However, Yuki did not care about helping her brother, so he activated the device. This really worked, since Adonis, while he was laughing, lost his magic and released the pen. When he sees this, Yamato asks what happened, so he asks the director for explanation, but she tells him that nothing happened and that everything is fine there. The director also turned off the device, although she and Yuki were in a very bad state. Yamato even wonders if Yuki did something bad, but the director tells him to look in front of him, to concentrate. He asks if he really can't beat him without canceling the magic. Motivated by the director, Yamato decides to send all the troops. Adonis is running to see his pen while the soldiers chase him. One of the soldiers gets much closer to Adonis and asks him how he dares to attack this nation. But at that moment a building collapses and almost falls on them. However, the building separates the other soldier, leaving them alone. This very furious soldier is about to attack Adonis, and seeing this situation, Adonis thinks that he is finally going to die and that he can finally be next to Chloe. The soldier took Adonis' head, went with the other soldiers, and told them that he finally eliminated the apprentice of the witch. On such news, the soldiers were happy. Yamato of the official statement that they defeated the apprentice of the witch, but says that it is soon to celebrate it, asks to recover Adonis' body and confirm the damage suffered by the city. After the incident, Goethe gives a speech. He says that those abominable dark arts still exist. The boy who was kidnapped by the witch 10 years ago attacked them, and although Adonis was of his own kind, even after 10 years, they do not know how he could use magic being human. So in retrospect, Goethe says that he cannot but hate himself for having allowed him to live. But he asks the people not to fear, that this is Rhea, the pinnacle of the world. Meanwhile, in a class, the teacher says that there were dead students, and that he knows that it has been hard, but tomorrow the tests of the national exam begin. A student asks why the apprentice of the witch allied with the witches if he was human. The teacher responds that who knows, maybe they have washed his brain. Now he says that they have physical education, so they have to chain. This girl approaches this other girl, tells her that she saw what she did. Eri tells her that she does not know what she is talking about, and that it was just a normal reaction. Later she leaves some flowers to one of the students who died. She thinks that Takuma surely hates her, since when the Adonis thing happened and he was in trouble, Eri just left him and ran away. She thinks it's the worst, since she abandoned her boyfriend, and apart, she has photos of Adonis, which seems very attractive to her. While she sees the photos of Adonis, she hears a voice that tells her that it is not for so much. Seeing the logo on his clothes, Eri realizes that the subject works for the government, so he quickly wanted to erase the photo. The guy tells him that nothing happens and that he does not have to erase them. He tells him that it is fine that he likes the photo, but that he does not talk to anyone else about them, since the apprentice of the witch is the criminal who caused the disaster. Eri is very scared, but the guy tells her not to worry, that he is not going to report her. Eri tells him that he has to go, so he leaves. However, when Eri leaves, the guy makes a call. He introduces himself as Oz and tells him that there is a high school girl in section 6-2 of Grand Road. He says that Adonis seems to have influenced her, so he asks her to be arrested. Meanwhile, at the National Intelligence Agency, the chief investigator Charmy says that they received a disturbing analysis, since it turns out that the body of the apprentice of the witch is false, which means that Adonis is still alive. Adonis wakes up desperate, while the witches around him say that they knew it was a lot to use a teleportation spell with any human, but the leader of the witches, Ophelia Sama, makes her appearance and tells her not to give up, while he approaches to stimulate the brain of the protagonist to return the sanity. Our protagonist can only think of Chloe. We return moments before, where Adonis wakes up and observes a copy of him beheaded and a witch, which used the magic death cancel to make a replica of our protagonist. Adonis cannot believe what he is watching, but the witch finally appears. His name is Anna, and together with Daruka they infiltrated this country, since everything is part of the plan to revive Chloe the witch. Anna tells our prota that he is going to get him out of this place. Adonis tries to ask Anna something, but Anna tells him that later. And out of nowhere, many threads appear, and our prota is locked up inside a sphere made up of threads, which flies away. Returning to the present, Adonis wakes up and falls off his bed, but Phaelia appears and hugs him while thanking him for fighting by his side. Our protagonist quickly pushes him and asks him who he is. Phaelia answers that he calmed down, since he is in the country of witches. Our protagonist observes how the witches pass time in that place, but is interrupted by two witches who ask him if he is feeling better. Adonis answers him with a yes, and they with a smile tell him to be happy, because if not, Chloe would be sad. Adonis asks the girls if they knew Chloe. They answer yes, since Chloe took care of them when they were little, which makes Adonis happy. Our protagonist is taken in front of Ophelia, and when our protagonist wants to get up, Ophelia stops him, telling him that he should not do that, since his body has gone through a lot of stress. Recently, a witch interrupts giving a lemon to Ophelia while she says that the harvests have been abundant. As usual, our protagonist gets a little angry and asks what they did to him. Ophelia replies that the only thing he did was invite him. The protagonist asks if he knew Chloe, and Ophelia replies that everyone knew Chloe since she was expelled. Adonis answers that it was she who expelled her, and all to teach magic to a human child. Ophelia asks if Chloe was the one who told her, but our protagonist answers that no, that he deduced it himself since he spent a lot of time by his side. Ophelia explains that magic represents friendship and devotion to God, that witches have, so it is not something that humans should learn. Also, even if Chloe was begged to leave her apprentice, she always asked for forgiveness. Adonis asks if it's finally over. Ophelia answers yes, and says she will give him something back. Adonis, upon seeing his pen, gets angry and even pushes a witch, but he falls to the ground again and yells at Ophelia to give him back his pen. Ophelia replies that a phoenix pen imbued with magic like that is a masterpiece. Ophelia returns the feather to Donis and asks him if Chloe believed it. Our proto answers that it is the only one, and asks Ophelia if she can really revive Chloe, to which Ophelia replies that witches do not lie. Our proto sighs and looks up, and is surprised to see the planet Earth. Ophelia explains that the country of witches is out of reach of humans. They came to the moon 10 years ago and created Luna Milia. The witch asks our protagonist what he thinks of God. Donis replies that God does not exist, that he could not tolerate his existence. Ophelia shows him all the graves of witches that died, while he says that the human king believes that witches will extinguish humanity. Returning to the country, Ophelia shows Donis the myth tree, the place where all the witches are born. Our protagonist says that he had never seen one. Ophelia asks if Chloe said something to him, but our protagonist answers that Chloe did not like to talk about his homeland. Ophelia explains that witches do not have gender, they do not need a partner, since they are the fruits that contain the power of God. She also says that this is the only myth tree left, since humans eliminated everyone else. This myth tree is the only tree that can give birth and regenerate witches. Our protagonist observes Chloe inside one of the fruits of the tree, and asks Ophelia if she is Chloe. She replies that she is not, that she is just an ordinary witch, that to become Chloe she needs the strength of our protagonist. Here Ophelia explains to our protagonist that magic is based on converting the imagination of individuals. For example, the pen of our protagonist has become several things by thoughts of him. Ophelia continues to explain that this also applies to memory. So what he needs is that Adonis imbue the memories he has of Chloe in that fruit to bring her back. Ophelia only moves away and tells our protagonist to let him know when he is ready. Moments later, our protagonist is thinking, but in front of him appears Anna, which asks him if he has nothing to say to him, since it was his fault that Daroka died. But our protagonist says that he is not interested, since that was Anna's plan, and she leaves the place. Anna shouts at him to stop, and that all humans are the same selfish. He wonders if he really risked his life for an ungrateful like him, but our protagonist answers him that he knows that they only saved him because they want to use Chloe. You'll see how much. It turns out that moments before he died, Daroka told him the plan that the nation of the witches had. It turns out that the Luna Milia is a place where they have human slaves. The witches kidnap certain types of human children and teach them to fight, since the witches are on the verge of extinction and need soldiers to win. They just need Chloe to create more feathered. Our protagonist moves away from Anna while laughing at the witches, but Anna stops him, asking him what he will do now that he knows, since Doroka is now dead because of him. Adonis replies that he will resurrect Chloe, that has not changed, and that he will do what Chloe decides. But if Chloe rejects them, the witches will become their enemies. The ritual to revive Chloe begins, and our protagonist approaches to imbue memories inside the myth fruit using his pen. In the magic of nostalgic memories, the fruit begins to fill with memory, like when Adonis and Anna watched the stars, or Adonis accidentally observed all the damage that humans can do to witches by mistake, and how Chloe between tears thanked her for staying by her side, since she can no longer live alone in that world. The ritual continues normal, but when the fruit begins to shine and descend, instead of Chloe, Doroka appears from the myth tree. Doroka is very surprised to see the other witches, but is more surprised to realize that she is without clothes. Our protagonist gives him some clothes and tells him that now they are at hand since he saved him in Rhea. Ophelia asks our protagonist what will happen now with Chloe, more after the witches helped our protagonist. Ophelia asks Doroka if she put strange ideas in the head of that human. Doroka answers no, but our protagonist interrupts him saying that he has already decided not to revive Chloe. Ophelia gets upset with Adonis, but out of nowhere Yamato and our protagonist start to argue, until a witch tries to put out the myth tree with water magic, but is eliminated by a soldier, which infuriates Ophelia, so she starts the witches to put on their fighting suits to start a great battle. On the other hand, our protagonist is fighting Yamato, who throws himself and cuts him, but Adonis steals his shotgun and shoots him, even on the ground, which makes Yamato suffer a lot of damage. Doroka tries to stop him, while the witches try to defend themselves from the army by eliminating them, using various types of magic such as crystals, snakes, insects, among others, which seem to be very effective. Even Ophelia is very broken since she uses gravity to make blood rain, while she says that humans are very fragile. But when Ophelia thought she was winning, the second squadron ends up teleporting. On Earth, the director of the Agency of National Authority asks the director Tata, what happens? The director explains that it turns out that many witches used a device created by humanity to flee beyond the sky. The director apologizes for not having discovered it before. The director asks if they used magic camouflage on the moon. The director answers that indeed, that's right. The director is very upset, since they give them a lot of money. So I want a quick answer for that situation. But out of nowhere, another guy says to him, shut up fat, people don't hunt witches anymore, right? This is Usagi, another director of the agency. Returning a little to the past, Yamato observes his sister, while remembering how she was always by his side at all time, while realizing how impressive his little sister is. All this was said to the director Tata, whom he reproaches since his little sister is barely 14 years old. Back to the present, Yamato powers up his armor to be able to get up. Adonis is ready to eliminate him, but Yamato gives him a tremendous blow that sends him to the ground. Yamato prepares to launch his final attack, while thinking about the things he will do with his sister once she recovers from her current situation. Yamato launches a big cut in Arya, which cuts off half of all the witches, including Ophelia and Doroka. Lies, Doroka is not dead. Anna saved her life, but she couldn't save herself. Doroka cries over her friend, while she can't believe everything that happened. Adonis tells Yamato that he will eliminate him, while Yamato tells the barracks on the ground that the witches were neutralized, that only the boy remained. Here the battle continues. Adonis launches against Yamato, and dodges one of his attacks to then jump and with his blow, break Yamato's sword and cause him a lot of damage. But Yamato also has some tricks, and regenerates his sword to hit our prota. The myth was completely burned, so this is the end of the witches. The last witches that were left were eliminated. Yamato continues fighting our prota, creating a big tornado and taking advantage of the dust to do damage to Donnie. But Donnie is badly broken and invokes a giant sword, which leaves Yamato armless, while our prota says that he can observe the look of revenge in his eyes. While the witches were still being eliminated, Yamato approached to eliminate Donis once and for all. Yamato was about to attack our protagonist, but Doroka yells at him to stop, and right after Yamato asks why he can't move his body. It turns out that Doroka has the spell of Amor Mandragora. All the soldiers fall before the spell of Doroka. Doroka approaches Yamato and asks if he is the leader. He also asks his name. Yamato answers him, but in his mind he says that he did not want to answer him, that his mouth opened by itself. He also adds that this magic can be very dangerous. The witches who survived wonder what Doroka will do now. Yamato, very furious, tells Doroka to remove his spell, but Doroka only applies more pressure on him, while our protagonist yells at Doroka to take advantage of the fact that he is immobilized, to eliminate him from a court. But Doroka only offers his hand to Yamato, while he tells him to stop fighting and make peace. The only thing Doroka asks is that he does not hurt the witches or our protagonist. Yamato tells her that if she promises that, she will take the spell from him and his men. But Adonis interrupts him by shouting that they eliminated Anna, who cannot let him go alone. After the humans eliminated so many of his companions, one of the witches agrees with Adonis, while our protagonist continues to scream at the Daroka that if he does not eliminate her, he will eliminate her. The next act, Yamato throws himself on top of Daroka to start hitting him a lot, while he tells her that he would never make peace with a witch, since witches are scum that only cause terror and chaos, unimportant being, besides remembering his little sister, which makes him even more aggressive. But Daroka replies that they have also eliminated many people. Both sides, both humans and witches, suffered casualty. Daroka only asks Yamato why they eliminated the witches now that they have the science. When in the past witches and humans used to be great friends, Daroka asks Yamato to withdraw his troops. Yamato refuses, but Daroka grabs his fist while asking if he will obey him, which makes his spell activate. And Yamato begins to remember all his professional career while trying to resist the magic of Daroka. But out of nowhere a memory appears where we see a little Yamato who runs to hug a silhouette of Daroka. Then from that memory Yamato says that he will obey her because he loves her, but he could not finish saying the phrase, since just at that moment our Protoss pierces Yamato's head with his own sword. The queen asks how he could do that. Donnie only offers his hand and tells him that together with that magic they are going to destroy humanity. Now we return to the Earth, to the royal palace, where a soldier is informing the king of the situation on the moon, saying that the communications are very unstable. The king asks if all the witches are going to be eliminated. The soldier says that this seems to be the result. The queen asks the soldier if the prisoner Donnie is there, to which the soldier replies that it seems that yes. The king interrupts him saying that this is perfect, that the witches burn to the moon if necessary, since they will all die. After that he hugs his wife to continue screaming that the witches are eliminated. The soldier thinks that the king is crazy, but the queen replies that it is normal, that sometimes it is very exciting. Here we discover that the queen is really a witch with the spell of love, which while congratulates the king for his great work exterminating the witches, also tells him that he can die in peace. So the king begins to walk with a big smile to the edge of the building, where despite that they begged him to stop, the king shouts that they leave him in peace, since he is the king and he does not regret anything, since everything he did for the love of his life, the queen. He even said with tears in his eyes, but the queen is like, die once and for all, old man. So the king ends up dying. The soldier was going to call the reinforcements, but the queen tells him to stop, which activates his magic and makes the soldier listen to him. In addition to telling him I love you, the queen speaks to Usagi asking him if maybe he went too far in eliminating him, but Usagi responds that it does not matter, that in the end, why did he need it? But she replies that her magic only works with men, that's why she needed to finish all the witches. Usagi tells her that this world now may be hers, but the queen replies that she does not want the world, and that it is better to bring someone decent next time. Usagi replies that it is fine that she has a man who is at the level of the queen, but the queen tells him to stop calling him that since she is no longer queen, so Usagi calls him Dorothea, the witch who crosses the universe. Back to our protagonist. Daroka rejects the deal of our protagonist to exterminate all humanity, so our protagonist just tells her that in that case, the spell should not be used. The soldiers are crying the death of the director Yamato, calling our protagonist a cheater, but Adonis appears out of nowhere and using a spell, eliminates them all despite Daroka's screams that asked Adonis to stop. Daroka, not having any other option, is about to use her magic against Adonis, but our Proto appears in front of her, telling her to do it if she wants to be eliminated again. Our Proto continues with his massacre, while Baroka tries to convince him. He just shouts to stop scolding him. After all, Adonis already eliminated all the soldiers. Our Proto approaches Yamato's corpse and tears his face off, and using voice magic, sends a message to the Earth's barracks. In the barracks, they had no video or audio signal of what was happening on the moon until the lights were restarted and Yamato appeared on the screen saying that they were victorious and that they gave it to the king since there were no more witches or soldiers left. He was the only survivor of that battle. But the director Teta says that this thing is not Yamato, and she is right, it really is our Proto, who is using Yamato's face on top of his. When the ferry ends, she asks Donnie if it was something she planned from the beginning, but our Proto ignores her and proceeds to try to take her to Daraka, saying that her magic is very powerful, but she slaps him while she asks him what she would tell Chloe. Now out of nowhere, both begin to be teleported by the people of the government of the Earth, where before leaving, Ophelia curses him, hoping that God will judge him for his acts, and then die in the nation of the witches. Our Proto, before leaving, can only say a sorry. Meanwhile on planet Earth, they were prepared for the arrival of our protagonist, so the director smelled the deception of our protagonist. The teleportation is completed, and all the soldiers start shooting, but the director realizes that there is no one in that place. One of the soldiers notifies him that they added more coordinates to the teleportation machine. I ask the soldier to hurry up giving him the new coordinates, but the soldier says that is impossible, since the device does not respond. The director falls, spitting blood, while she says, "You win this battle, apprentice witch." On his side, Our protagonist asks Doroka to observe, since they have returned to the surface. He also tells him that first they will begin conquering Rydia little by little, with patience. It turns out that before being teleported, our protagonist, using Yamato's voice, changed the landing coordinates. Our protagonist tells Doroka to hurry, since they will destroy towns and cities that are on their way to Rydia. But Doroka just sits, saying he wants to go back to the moon. Our protagonist gets upset and tells him not to say stupid things, since no witch has survived. Doroka replies that this is a lie and that he wants to return. Our protagonist calls him childish, and Doroka replies saying that it is more childish to think only of revenge. Our protagonist approaches her using the magic of nostalgic memories, shows her how Yamato did not accept her proposal. Doroka answers her to stop, that she wanted to know what kind of person was Dunny, the human apprentice of the witch Chloe, since he was someone who lived between the two worlds, someone who could be the bridge between humans and witches. But the protagonist answers her, "You see, you don't know anything about me." Doroka asks him how far he plans to go with his meaningless revenge if it continues like this. The cycle of hate will not be broken, but Dunny is heard by pigs and says that Chloe was all his world, and that's why now the world that was stolen deserves to be destroyed. Doroka asks him why he took soldiers to the moon. Our prota answers that it was to return to Earth. Adds that the witches served as a screen of you. Doroka cries while screaming that those witches risked their lives, that she cannot despise them like that. But our prota quickly grabs her shirt and answers that she is the one who is underestimating the life of her companion. By forgiving the humans, Doroka replies that revenge does not heal the problems, but our protagonist tells her that she has nothing left to lose. As she leaves the place, Doroka runs and jumps on our protagonist to tell him that even though the world is cruel and dark, it should not allow this to change him. In addition to insisting that he continue with his revenge, he will only hurt his heart. But our protagonist answers with a, "I knew it, you don't understand anything. Revenge is the proof of my existence, the proof that Chloe lived with me." Our protagonist feels that if he stops now, everything he lived with Chloe will be forgotten. Doroka, after hearing this, cries, but quickly worries, since our prota has lost a lot of blood. Some motorcyclists watch Doroka from afar, and say that they look like a very sweet couple, and they ask their boss Punch what they should do. Our protagonist wake up in another place. Our protagonist tries to remember what happened, and all he remembers is seeing Doroka begging to help Adonis. So our protagonist deduces that right now he must be in the guard of those motorcyclists. Punch asks our protagonist if he has already woken up. Our protagonist watches him furiously. Punch tells him not to look at him with that face, and then offers him a drink, which our protagonist rejects aggressively. So Punch laughs while he says he's an interesting person. He proceeds to introduce himself while he gives a drink to one of his pet dinosaurs. Our protagonist in his mind says that this poor guy does not seem to be of good health, so he asks where the girl he was with a moment ago is. Punch asks if that girl is his girlfriend. He tells her that he was taking care of her until recently, that the boys took her. Our protagonist insists, angry, to tell him where the girl is. Punch tells him to calm down and follow him. When he leaves, Punch introduces our protagonist to the Paramo, the other side of the Industrial Revolution. People of countries in development, refugees and slaves fled from Rydia. All that science forgets ends up reaching the Paramo. Out of nowhere, our protagonist hears the witch scream to stop and proceeds to observe a scene in the distance, which leaves a lot to the imagination. While Punch tells her that not many women go to the Paramo, unless young, our protagonist jumps to rescue Doroka. But when he is about to create a massacre, he realizes that Doroka is just learning to ride a motorcycle. Doroka, seeing that Adonis is awake, falls off the motorcycle, but quickly gets up and gives the dolls to our protagonist as a gift of reconciliation. But our protagonist tears them as if they were worth nothing. Push orders everyone to go to work, except our couple, as he sends them to help fix the party. At night, everyone starts to celebrate. Even an old man wanted to go crazy with Doroka, but luckily Doroka reacted quickly and, using his magic, exchanged his personality for Dumpling. Meanwhile, our prota is just watching the panorama. Some people ask Doroka if he fought with his boyfriend, to which Doroka replies that they are not boyfriend. The inhabitants of the Paramo ask him then what they do together in that area. Doroka replies that they are both travelers and that they were exploring the world, but the guys don't take it seriously. But out of nowhere, all the people start to fall unconscious, while our prota says that they should check what they drink. Doroka asks Donnie if he killed them, but Donnie answers that it is not so, that he only modified the beer to make it a tranquilizer. He asks Doroka if she can't see magic, being a witch. Doroka answers that she is a witch to understand that kind of thing, and asks if no one has died, but our prota, while he takes out an iron, says, no one has died yet. Doroka pleads with Donis not to eliminate anyone, since they are people who help them, but Donis interrupts him, saying that he will not eliminate anyone, since those people do not reach human. In addition to this, our prota tells Doroka that he no longer needs her, since he cannot be with a person who smiles with strangers in that way after losing someone he loved so much. Adonis says that the two are not compatible. Doroka, between tears, says that he smiles only to keep appearances, and that they do not discover that she is a witch. But our protagonist tells him that it is true. They are not compatible. She does not have to become what he became to then leave. During the morning, one of the Punch's Dinos tries to please Doroka, but out of nowhere Punch appears, who says that his boyfriend is very rude and that he left without thanking him. Doroka replies that he is not her boyfriend, and in his mind Doroka knows that Adonis is actually a good boy. While Adonis was walking in the desert, he had memories with Doroka, but out of nowhere he sees how something is chasing him, and it does not matter who it is, he is ready to fight. Returning with Doroka, it turns out that Punch already knew Adonis, since once when he was about to die, Chloe appeared in front of him and gave him help. That's when he met Adonis for the first time to Donnie. Pudge tells Doroka that Donnie already chose the path of revenge for his life, so he asks Doroka what to do now. Doroka answers that she does not want to let anyone else die, so on a motorcycle she reaches Donnie so that they can travel together. The only bad thing is that she moves away from the distance, since she does not know how to brake her motorcycle, so Donnie runs after her. Actually, everyone was preparing for the coronation of the new empress, and this guy called Oz is the one who is watching everything the ceremony begins, giving a tribute to the last emperor, since thanks to him and his advances in science and technology, they no longer need more of the witches. They make him look like the savior of his generation, and cover up his cause of death, saying that the emperor could not bear his illness dying because of this. But out of nowhere a girl appears and the host tells the audience to get ready to see their new queen. All the spectators start counting from 10 to 1, and when the count is over, the host introduces Dorothea, the new queen of Heredia, which gives a show around the world, idol style. And through this show and its magic, it manages to make most of the men who watch it fall in love. In another kingdom, one of the people says that it is a fiasco that a witch is now the monarch of humanity. While he says that, observe how Dorothea sends to eliminate all who work in the previous government. When his show ends, a crown appears on top of his head and everyone starts applauding him. Meanwhile in the desert, Usagi is very happy, since his childhood friend finally managed to become a queen, even asking a handkerchief to one of his robot hands, which reminds him that the mission is the first. It turns out that Usagi was looking for our Prota through a location device that had Yamato, but Usagi, realizing that the device does not work, says that he will do things for the bad, invoking many robotic hands. Meanwhile, our Prota and Duraka are driving through the desert. Our Prota asks Duraka what he will do now, since he does not plan to abandon his revenge. Duraka replies that she really had a proposal, since there are good people like Punch and his men. Our Prota interrupts him by saying that he will not forgive anyone. He makes it clear to Duraka that he does not hinder him, to which Duraka replies with an agreement. He also asks Duraka why, if his magic allows him to. Duraka responds with a, okay. She also asks Duraka why, if her magic allows her to control men, she doesn't use that magic with him. The day they met, that moment when she almost eliminates him. So she asks him why he didn't use his magic. Duraka replies that surely he wouldn't have wanted a first encounter like that, to which our protagonist replies that he is right. Our couple arrives at Zonland, an abandoned town, which is in ruins. Our protagonist tells Duraka to wait there, but Duraka insists on following him, and tells him that he will not bother him. Adonis, when observing Duraka's bag, asks him what he has inside, and Duraka tells him that Mr. Punch gave it to him and that it has many useful things, such as a house to camp as a snowman. Although our protagonist sweats it out and leaves the place, both begin to investigate the place until they reach an abandoned police station, to which they enter, but when Duraka enters, she does not stop colliding with everything, which clearly bothers our protagonist. Duraka asks for forgiveness and they continue, until out of nowhere a hologram appears behind Duraka, which scares her a lot, since she thinks it is a ghost. But Adonis, when he looks at him, realizes that he has pre-recorded NPC phrase, so he tells Duraka that it is a hologram and leaves the place. Both continue exploring until they reach the cells, which brings bad memories to both. And while they were walking in their cell, out of nowhere Donnie hears a voice that comes from a cell and stops Duraka, as he wonders where it comes from. Both approach a cell where they observe an old man who is playing the guitar. While singing, Duraka tries to call him, but as the old man did not answer, Duraka decides to scream, which scares the old man a lot, and also surprises him to observe other people in that place. Duraka tells him that they are only travelers and asks for forgiveness. Adonis observes a ring of Ryojo. While the old man asks him what they are doing there, Adonis uses the reverse card of one and asks him the same. The old man asks if he wants to know why they locked him up. Adonis leaves the place, saying that he has nothing to do there. The old man interrupts, saying that those were the same words that others used when they left. During the year expansion, after the witches disappeared, everyone left the place. For technological advances, Adonis asks the old man if there is a city nearby, and the old man answers that the city-state of Mammoth is 70 kilometers east. After hearing this, Adonis tells her that she listens very well, since the cell was not closed. That marriage does not need help, what it needs is peace and tranquility. Daraka does not understand what he means. It turns out that the man from before is there for his beloved, whom they accused of being a witch, and they locked him there. The man will now protect his beloved until death. Adonis understands this, so he tells Daraka that it's time to head to Mamuta. Both arrive at Mamuta and pass through a large tunnel. While they are in that tunnel, Daraka tries to play rock, paper, scissors with our protagonist, and the loser will have to do what the winner wants. But our protagonist tells him that he passes. Daraka tries to keep playing with Adonis, but Adonis only ignores him. Upon reaching the city, they realize that the city is completely destroyed. In the distance, Daraka observes what appears to be a woman, so Adonis stops. Daraka approaches to help her, and covers her with her coat, but the girl only tells him that he has to hurry. Our protagonist tells him to stay away, since that thing is not human, because it turns out that this robot girl is a robot, which is designed to please its owner, either man or woman, so it jumps on Daraka, but luckily our protagonist manages to shoot him. Our protag explains what is to Daraka, but Daraka does not understand what he means. Out of nowhere, he begins to hear sounds coming from a motel. Adonis tells Daraka that he only stays behind and does not interrupt. Daraka tries to accompany Adonis, but Adonis replies that he has to listen to him. He also tells Daraka to scream if something bad happens, but Daraka, when he sees remains of dolls, he gets scared, decides to follow Adonis to hide, telling himself that Adonis is not one of the subjects that would abandon a girl to his luck. But the moment he remembers how he almost abandoned her moments before, which scares him. Out of nowhere, Adonis appears in front of him, telling him that he is going to eliminate her. This scares Daraka a lot, which begins to beg her to please forgive her, and tells her that she only followed him because she has all the things in her bag, that the best thing would be to have her clothes. Adonis replies that it makes sense, so he tells her to do whatever she wants. But who is in the way? Both begin to explore the dungeon more. Out of nowhere, both hear sounds and a horrible smell of a room, and when they open the door, they find a man who has died because of pleasure. Adonis prepares his weapons while he observes that the dolls come in a raid. While Daraka refuses to look, out of nowhere, one of the robots. She says she just wanted to be loved while she cried. She is not the only one who presents her own conscience, since many wonder why they were created. So after that, our prota shoots the dolls, which thank the prota for ending their existence. In another place we see number 5 and 6, which are ready to eliminate the soldiers of Redia they have in front of them. So they start eliminating them one by one, until they finish them all, calling them pathetic. Adonis, while walking, says that humans are scum, but it was obvious that by evolving their technology, they were going to create dolls with those purposes. Until he finds in the middle of nowhere, crickets of prisoners of Redia, that they could not make a new generation, so the men gave themselves to pleasure. Our protagonist adds that surely it is not the only place that ends like this. From the ceiling he observes many robots in a ball, and using a speaker, prepares to let them rest all the dolls. Daraka asks if they will feel pain, but Adonis assures him that not, and orders Daraka to grab the speaker, and using magic Adonis manages to give eternal rest to all the dolls that were there, which makes Daraka very emotional. Meanwhile, number 5 and number 6 observe our protagonist, saying that they should not underestimate him, although he looks like a teenager. Number 5 asks why they get into which problems, when they never get into these problems. Number 6 explains that the Emperor Suzhur asked to bring everything that can cause problems to Redia, so number 5 and number 6 are ready to finish this and go to live together. Both jump to our protagonist and Daraka, but are interrupted by Usagi, who does not intend to allow them to stay with their prey. So number 5 and number 6 launch to attack Usagi. Our couple buries the robots, and Daraka prays for them. Our prota tells him that this is useless, that if he really wants to honor his memories, he can only do one thing: make humans feel resentment. Daraka replies that she does not agree with him, but to Adonis that does not matter, and better ask him why Daraka is traveling to his side, when after all, he attracted the humans who eliminated all his sisters. But Daraka shows him the toys from before, telling him that she does not want to blame him and neither to continue fighting. After all, the witches were looking to use our protagonist. Adonis asks for forgiveness, and continues walking. Daraka asks our protagonist if they are officially reconciled. Adonis he answers that it is fine, but that he takes those 2 dolls out of his wallet. This puts something sad to Daraka. Adonis asks him if he has no other talents. Daraka tells him that he can sing. Usagi, who is watching them from afar, asks them to stop flirting so much. Daraka asks him who he is, but Adonis answers that it is obvious that he is an enemy. Usagi destroys Adonis' motorcycle, while he tells him that he came to hunt him. Our protagonist asks him if he comes from Riria, and finally thanks for having something to eliminate. It turns out that thanks to the intelligence agency Usagi managed to find our protagonist. The intelligence agency is in charge of all the criminals, and the one in charge of all this is the investigator of Chief Charmy, which Usagi asks him to finish quickly with Adonis, since he hates overtime. Adonis is somewhat worried, since he did not expect to be found so soon. Adonis asks him who are the heads that he is holding. Usagi replies that they have no idea that they arrived first. It turns out that when they started attacking Usagi, he finished them both. Usagi tells our protagonist that nowadays there are many pursuers behind him. While he kisses the beheaded heads, Usagi says that those two were useless. Daroka shouts at him to stop, so Usagi quickly appears in front of her and grabs her to ask her if she wants a kiss or something like that. But Adonis quickly pushes Daroka back and tries to use his magic formulation, but before finishing his spell, Usagi gives him a big blow to the stomach, which causes our protagonist to go through the wall. Adonis tries to shoot Usagi, but Usagi easily dodges his bullets, so our protagonist says he must be a cyborg, so he shoots him a giant bullet, but Usagi simply dodges it as if he were Limbo. Daroka tries to use her love spell against Usagi, and Adonis tells her that she did the right thing now. Arank answers some questions. Daroka agrees, but out of nowhere Usagi starts laughing like crazy and says that he is surprised, and that explains his resemblance to the queen since she has the same type of magic which she used to eliminate the emperor. Daroka wonders why her magic doesn't work until Usagi takes off her shirt and observes a heart symbol. Usagi prepares his attack and takes out a lot of flying robotic hands. Unable to observe this, he tells Daroka to leave the place, since his magic is useless. So right now he is useless in battle. Daroka, lifting a rock, says that he does not care, that he will not allow more people to die, and will not allow him to be removed from Adonis. Our Protalber creates a sword for Daroka, and he creates a part of an armor. Both are ready to fight, and Usagi is ready to eliminate them. But before, our Prota tells Daroka that the sword he carries on top is an enchanted sword, to pierce the steel, so it should be easy. He also gives her a parchment and tells her that she should learn some skill. Usagi gets upset and begins her attack. Our Prota and Daroka start to destroy all the hands that appear. The problem is that they keep coming more and more, so many that Daroka can't handle them anymore, but our protagonist appears to help her. Usagi gets angry and unleashes 100% of all her power. Our protagonist, when he sees this, uses his magic to destroy all the robot hands faster, and locks himself in a giant ball with which he plans to crush Usagi. Charmy tries to tell Usagi to dodge it, but Usagi ignores him and calls his hands to give him propulsion, so he tries to stop the giant ball where our partner is, but out of nowhere the ball stops, and Donnie appears in front of Usagi, who is ready to punch him. But Usagi at that moment invokes more evil robots to help him, and tells Donnie that he is a fool. But out of nowhere Daroka appears on top of our protagonist and throws herself on Usagi to give him the final blow. But Daroka fails and hits him in the legs, so she grabs Daroka, saying that she should aim for the head. Adonis throws himself to try to help Daroka, but both are hit by Usagi. Daroka vomits blood, while Usagi is trapped by the magic of our protagonist, who is ready to finish him off. But Usagi, using his robotic hand, stops the use of the magic pen. Daroka, when she saw this, had already decided that she would not let Adonis die, so she tries to get up, but Usagi realizes this, and using another robotic hand, he takes Daroka's hair. More hands appear to subdue our protagonist, thus freeing Usagi, who, being free, gives the order to one of the robotic hands that blinds Daroka. Daroka begins to remember all the things she lived, and thanks to being able to be by her side. Although she would have liked to continue seeing the world, the robotic hand finally buries her fingers in Daroka's eyes, leaving her totally blind.